everyone. Welcome to another episode of Rack and Roll Future Proofing Your Warehouse. I'm Ashley Felposh, your host. Today, we'll be exploring the topic of integrating robotics into your warehouse operations. I'm excited to be joined by Steve Simmerman, Vice President of Global Alliances at Locus Robotics. Steve, it's a pleasure to have you on with us. Could you start by introducing yourself and giving us some background before we jump into our discussion?
Sure. Thanks, Ashley. I'm Steve Simmerman with Locus Robotics. As Ashley said, I'm Vice President of Global Alliances. I've been with Locus a little over 3 years, going on 3.5 years, but I have an extensive career in supply chain software, material handling, et cetera. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation today, Ashley. A little bit about Locus. We are the leader in autonomous mobile robots. We have right around 14,000 bots deployed in 19 different countries, predominantly here in North America and Europe, and we're just starting to inch our way into the Asia Pacific market. But it's a great market to be in right now. It's very hot. It's fun. So yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's definitely fast paced, and it's really fun to see all the things you guys have going on always. So robotics has taken supply chain processes by storm over the last few years. Why is that?
Yeah, a couple of reasons, I think, but you're right. Robotics has absolutely exploded. If you go to any of the major material handling trade shows, industry trade shows, it's all about robotics these days. And I would say it really started pre-COVID. We've always sort of, for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, have seen the growth in the e-com market space. So that has continued to accelerate, but with COVID, it really took off and caught a lot of people by surprise. So not only was it a tremendous increase in e-com direct-to-consumer type business, but at the same time with COVID and labor availability, et cetera, labor became a critical factor in most distribution centers. Just couldn't find the labor. If you could find it, the labor rates have gone up exorbitantly over the last couple of years. So it's a combination of things, both the continued boom in e-com, the impact of COVID on operations, and then just the global labor shortage that we hear about. And it is a global problem. It's not just the U.S., not just Europe. It's truly a global phenomenon having to do with labor shortage and costs.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really become a cornerstone in modern supply chain processes. And the benefits in terms of efficiency and accuracy are clear. So people keep moving forward. In a warehouse facility, where do you see companies bringing in robotics first?
Now, we typically see robotics really being implemented in the picking area, particularly with Locus solutions. Now, there are lots of different robotic solutions out there, some pallet handling robotics, if you will, et cetera. But from an autonomous mobile robot perspective, the bots are typically deployed in a picking operation because that's where the majority of the labor hours are expended. That's your largest labor expense in any distribution facility. And again, with the shortage of labor, the increasing cost of labor, it just makes all the sense in the world to attack that labor problem in a picking area. And the ROI of these systems is really tremendous. It's typically less than a year.
It's interesting to see how robotics evolve.
Yeah, and over the last couple of years, in addition to kind of addressing the picking efficiency and labor cost, et cetera, we are seeing robotics being deployed now in put away operations, replenishment, even cycle counting, to be honest with you. So we're taking on more and more use cases as robotics mature, and more importantly, as the software behind the robots matures. So I think a lot of times people look at robots and think, oh, they're cool, they're tremendously agile, et cetera, but the real power of the bot is in the software behind it. And I think that's, honestly, from a competitive perspective, it's a bit of an advantage we have. The founders of this business all came from supply chain software backgrounds, particularly warehouse management. So we fundamentally understand those processes and workflows and all the influencing factors driving efficiency and savings.
Absolutely. Yeah, the ability of robotics to operate continuously is a significant advantage. So can you share some real world examples where companies have seen substantial ROI after implementing robotics?
Sure, I'll talk sort of generically so I don't violate any non-disclosures we have out there. But we generally see anywhere from a 30 to maybe 50 or even sometimes 60% reduction in required headcount to do the picking operations in a facility. Now, people may look at that and think, well, robots are stealing jobs. That's really not the case. The reality is that in traditional picking operations, there's a lot of non-productive time. So I may be picking e-com orders to a cart or to a pallet jack, but that assumes that I am tied to that cart or to that pallet jack and I'm walking the entire facility. So again, customers generally see a reduction in required headcount while typically doubling, if not tripling, productivity with that reduced headcount and the advent of the bots. One of the advantages of autonomous mobile robots is they take all that non-productive walk time away from the operator. An operator can stay in a zone, the bots travel to the operators, and again, it's the bots doing all the non-productive walking in the facility versus the associates. I think the other thing that we should talk about in terms of the sort of savings and benefits of robotics, we always focus on the hard ROI, payback, productivity numbers. The soft side savings of bots is really tremendous. And we hear these stories day in and day out. Reduction in absenteeism, reduction in injuries, reduction in fatigue. People are happy to be working with the bots because I'm not pulling the cart. I'm not wearing a voice headset. I'm not wearing an RF device. I simply have a tag that the bot identifies me through that tag. And I'm hands-free, eyes-free. And again, I'm not pulling any heavy equipment around. We've heard the stories that people go home now, their backs don't ache, their feet don't ache, and they don't dread getting up in the morning realizing they've got to walk a cart around the warehouse for a full 8 hours. It just makes
Yeah,
their life,
exactly.
it makes their lives easier, to be honest with you.
Absolutely, definitely. Like you said, you don't wake up every morning thinking about, oh, I've got this physical labor to do. It makes it easier. And that was actually my next question was how do robotics integrate with human processes? But that's exactly it. It really takes a lot of the physical weight off of them.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah, we see it day in and day out.
so as Locus is advancing, as other robotics companies are advancing, where do you see the future of robotics and automation heading?
Yeah, it's really a fascinating time in the marketplace. There are so many different robotic solutions out there. As I said, some for pallet handling, some for very high dense case handling and shuttles, et cetera. What we're starting to see now are facilities with multiple subsystems, if you will, from different robotics providers. So I may have a high density pallet storage area that's sort of robotics driven. I may have Locus in the picking area. We're starting to see these different subsystems come into play in the same facility. This is something that really didn't exist from a robotics perspective. Now we've gone through that with conveyor and EGVs and that kind of thing. So we've got some experience and history there. But when it comes to hardcore robotics and integrating those systems and doing the orchestration, it's sort of a brave new world out there right now, to be honest with you. I think we're going to see tremendous advances over the next 2, 3 years as that technology matures. The other thing
Yeah.
I'll say is with these various subsystems is it's a challenge to traditional material handling consultants and integrators because they've never really had to deal with autonomous mobile robots. The way that you configure and lay out a warehouse to support autonomous mobile robots can be very dramatically different than you would with traditional manual labor, tons of conveyor, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really an interesting time in the marketplace.
Absolutely. Yeah. Staying informed and proactive is the key to success. So, is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience today?
Yeah, I think just maybe a little bit of friendly advice if somebody is considering robotics. Um, Number one, I'll say it starts with good, clean data. You have to have good, clean data so that whether it's Locus or some other robotics solution provider, we have good, solid data that we can design to and that we can plan to. So number one is clean data. Number two is I think that robotics force you to rethink your processes. You don't always have to do it the way you've always done it. Robotics give you an opportunity to really take advantage of the power and the agility and the flexibility of robotics, unlike anything we've seen in a long, long time from a material handling perspective. And look, there are plenty of success stories and case studies out there. Again, if anybody's looking to consider putting robotics in their facility, there are tons of reference sites out there. There's lots of video online, and I would say just be as open and honest as you can with any robotics provider. So the more that we know about you and your operation and your growth, the better we're going to be as a partner to you.
Absolutely. And I think that it's all about scaling and doing what's best for your company and future proofing your warehouse. So, thanks for joining us on this episode of Rack and Roll. We hope you enjoyed our discussion on integrating robotics into your warehouse. If you have any questions or would like to learn more, feel free to reach out. Our contact information is in the description below. Until next time, see you soon.